Want to ask you guys a question today. What are you actually called to do? This idea of like calling or having this idea of your life is meant to be in a certain direction might be new to you. Might be something that you're not actually sure if it's actually real, something that actually shows in your life. When I ask you this idea of like, what are you actually called to do? What comes up? What do you start to think about? What do you start to process? How does it actually resonate with you when I say, hey, what are you actually called to do? You see, I think everybody has an opportunity in their lives to actually fulfill and do the things in their life that they need to do. They have the opportunity to be able to grow and change and develop and become the person that they're actually called to be. The person not just that they want to be, but the person that they think, hey, this is actually who I think and who I want to be as I continue to grow, change, and develop. What does that look like for you? I want you to kind of consider the idea of today of like, what do you actually want in your life? This could be you want peace. You could want a good relationship. You could want to be in a certain place, to have a certain house, to look a certain way, to act a certain way, to have a certain amount of kids, whatever it might be. What do you actually want? I want you to consider like what does that actually look like in your life? Like how would it show up in your life? If you actually sit and think of like what do you actually want, what would that look like if you had it? What would that sound like? How would it show up in your life? What would be different for you if you actually got what you want? Everybody wants something different, but a lot of times in this space, when I'm normally talking to people, they want something consistently, and that is freedom. Freedom mentally from the toxic person, freedom physically from the abusive relationship, freedom from the rumination that's keeping you up at night, freedom from the things that are holding you hostage every single day, running you into sickness, running you into autoimmune disease, running you into the sleepless nights caused by the anxiety, caused by the things that are going through your head. Do you want freedom for you? What does that actually look like for you? When you think of freedom from a toxic relationship, what does that show up in your life? Like, what actually comes up of like, this is what I want, this is what it would look like? And I want to ask you in this moment, as you think about this, I want you to sit and kind of experience it. Try to pretend this is what it'd look like. This is what it feels like. This is how I would show up. This is how I'd show up different for my kids. This is how I'd show up different in my workplace environment. This is how I'd show up different to my friends and families that are around me. This is how I'd show different, like by just going to the gym, by working on myself. This is how I'd show up different by what I eat, what I put in my body. This is how I show up different. What does that freedom actually look like for you? Now, once you have that picture of freedom, you understand, hey, this is what I want. What is in your way of that? What is in the obstacle that is in your way of getting you what you want? The freedom that you desperately crave, the life that you desperately want to live, the connectedness you want to feel with maybe another person or just yourself of understanding who you are. What is the obstacle that is actually in your way? That might be leaving an abusive relationship. That might be breaking down limiting beliefs that have been holding you back since childhood. That might be working through different things in your life that you need to make different moves mentally, emotionally, physically, financially to be able to get you to the direction that you want. What is an obstacle that's actually holding you back? Maybe you're afraid of what the future might be. There's this fear of like, I don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know how it's going to work out. I don't know what's happening. You consider it until you actually make that first step, you won't know what direction you need to go. We can make a lot of educated guesses and we can tell you a lot of ideas, but until you actually make that step, what is going to change? So we've walked through a little bit of like, what do you want? How would that show up in your life different? What would that feel like? What would that look like? We touched on the aspect of freedom, of wanting freedom, and of getting away from that fear, getting away from the stuff that's keeping you hostage, that's holding you back. That might be a person, but that might be a belief. More than anything, it's probably a belief. a limiting thought that you're not good enough, that the things you do aren't good enough. Like if you were better, then this person wouldn't have left you, or this person wouldn't have abused you. Getting past this fear is a big obstacle. Now, the question is, if you know what the obstacle is and you know what you want, how do we actually get past that? What is the next step that you need to do to be able to get past that? I'll be like, I don't know. I have no clue. That's why I'm still here. That's why I'm still stuck. If you could just pretend with me for a second. Pretend you knew the answer. As you think, "If I knew the answer, what would it actually look like?" Because there might be an option that's already bouncing around in your mind that you might be thinking of, but you're unwilling to actually approach that idea. Maybe because it's scary, maybe because it's frustrating, maybe because it's hard. What does that actually look like for you? The end of the day, like moving forward to this place of freedom, you need to start doing things to move past the obstacle that's actually keeping you from that freedom. But if you don't know what you want and you also don't know what's in your way, you can't actually move forward of saying, what do I need to do? And that's the question that a lot of people ask is like, what do I need to do? What do I need to work through? So, what is next for you? What is the next step that you need to take in order to make this move? Some of you might just be learning about narcissistic abuse, might be trying to understand it, trying to figure it out, trying to have a depth to it. Some of it might be trying to break the trauma bond, get out of the ruminations, get free mentally and emotionally because you're in or you're even out of the relationship and you're still stuck in a trauma bond. Like you have to be able to start to identify this is where I'm at. Once you identify this is where I'm at, then we can start identifying the moves that need to be made. Like I walk through this step by step when I'm working with different clients and working in coaching situations saying, "Hey, how do we know what you want? How do we know like what the obstacle is? And then how do we actually work past this? What is the first thing that you need to do to work past this?" Like we have to be able to take a step in that right direction. Now, the right direction could be getting into therapy, could be filing a protective order, could be leaving the relationship, could be working with a coach, could be working with anybody. Could be talking to your friends or your family. Could be establishing a relationship with one of your friends that's been broken because of a toxic relationship, someone that you actually trust. Getting support. Like the aspect here of like moving forward is you have to be able to identify where you're at, what you want, what the obstacle is in between, and then what you need to do to get there. Are you seeing this? Too many people spend so much time going back and forth and not really focusing on what is the next step? What is the next place? Where is the next place that you need to be able to go or move to? A lot of people, I kind of started this out. We kind of sidetracked a little bit. Kind of started this out of asking you, like, what are you actually called to do? Like, what is the next move that you know you need to make? What is the next thing that you need to do? Some of you aren't called to be in a toxic relationship. Nobody is. Some of you aren't called to be in the place that you're currently at, the job that you're currently in, the person that you're currently with. You're actually called to do something else, and you know that. Deep down inside, you feel it. You feel that maybe the place that you're in is incongruent with actually who you are, with who you want to be, with how you actually want to develop. But then, what are you actually doing about it? What's the next step helping you move forward? These are all questions. A lot of this today has just been a lot of questions back and forth, just asking you to sit and kind of ponder and think. And a lot of these questions we dive in piece by piece when we're working in coaching clients, because I want you to get really clear about what is actually going on, where you are, what you want, what's the obstacle that's in your way. If you don't get clear, you will continue to go through the same exact cycle over and over and over and not actually fulfill your calling, your destiny, your purpose, your direction, who you actually want to be. You'll stay stuck. You'll stay stuck. You'll stay stuck over and over and over again. Now, like I mentioned, getting into therapy, working with a coach, moving forward, whatever it takes to help you move forward in your growth and your healing. If you do that with us here at Raw Motivations, you can click the link in the bio, escapetoxicity.com. If you want to work with me personally, you can go to rawmotivations.com. You can schedule a one-on-one. Regardless if you work with us or not, if nothing changes, nothing changes. You'll be stuck doing the same thing over and over and over again. Unless you actually narrow down where you are, what you want, and what is the obstacle in between. What do you need to do? What do you need to do step by step by step? This piece is important to be able to get around other support, other people that are going to help you grow, change, and develop into the person you're actually called to be. But the majority of people won't continue to take that step. Hopefully someone's hopefully someone's hearing this and understanding like what I'm trying to say. Raised by a single narcissistic mom, don't know any difference, but I trust there's something better. 100%. There's something better. You're used to it because everything you've been through has been you've gotten used to that type of situation, that type of quote unquote love. Logically, I know you're 100% right. My heart is just so broken. I feel broken. And have you know this that no matter how much you feel broken, there is healing on the other side of that. A lot of the people that you see that are inspirational or that are helpful or that are, role models are people that have also been very, very broken. And being able to put the pieces back together and find the healing on the other side has produced a giant resilience that most people don't have. So wherever you're at in the healing process, keep going. Because if you slow down, if you stop, you'll stay the same. It's so hard to leave with kids, even though I did. 100%, Melinda. 100%. Reach out if you need any help with that. In my relationship with the narcissist, I felt like I was stuck in a never ending loop. 100%. Lori, a lot of times you're stuck in a never ending loop with a narcissist. Whether it's the discard, the evaluation back and forth, or whether it's just the push and pull of the relationship. Needed this. I'll take the next steps. Awesome. I know the cheating, but he won't admit it. He's not going to admit it. There's no reason why he should admit it. If he doesn't admit it, then it doesn't actually exist and he can still be a good person in his mind. You've helped me say no. Get out and file for divorce. Awesome. I'm glad you're getting free. If you need help on the way, let us know. What if you have a child with a narcissism gone no contact? He is using her. So you're no contact, but you're splitting the kid, like going back and forth. A lot of times the nurse is going to try to leverage your kids. So this is why you have to set really good, strong, healthy boundaries for you. And you don't actually continue letting them pull you because they're always going to pull you to the side. You're welcome. Okay. Big part of your healing journey is figuring out where the heck you're going. Okay. Once you're able to step back and be like, okay, now I actually know who I want to be, then we can start building something. But if you don't get clear on who you are and where you want to go, you're kind of left swimming around the fog. That's what we look at trying to help people on a day-to-day basis, helping them understand, breaking out of the trauma bond and getting clarity about where they actually want to go, what they actually want. You ask most people on the street, what do you actually want? Most people have no clue. You're just living life, moving one step to another step. Even 2 years later, in the new relationship continues to understand how bad it was. 100%. Hope did the 7-day challenge. It was fantastic. Feels I'm ready now for the 45. Awesome. Look forward to seeing you in there. It's the Christian narcissist that confuses me. Melinda, I'll have you understand this. I've got a YouTube video on it for you to be able to check out. But when it comes to a Christian narcissist, there is not such a thing. Okay, when we talk about a Christian abuser, a Christian narcissistic abuse, there's no such thing. I'm just an abuser, just an asshole, not someone who actually knows God. If he claims to know God and he actually doesn't change anything, then he doesn't know God. Period. I don't think there is such a thing as a Christian abuser. Okay. Leave you on that note. Okay. What are you actually called to do? Do you actually know what you want? Do you actually know the direction you want to go? Do you know the obstacle in the way? And do you know the next step moving forward? If you don't, and if you want help with that, reach out. Go to rawmotivations.com or click the link in any of our bios to start understanding how to start moving forward in that healing journey. Break the trauma bonds, find out who you are, continue to move forward in developing your vision, your values, who you actually want to be. Okay. Reach out if y'all need any help. Thank y'all. Y'all have a blessed day. We'll catch you guys